Hey guys, it's the WalterFootball.com After Dark show for December 17, 2023. We're going to be doing the Week 15 NFL picks against the spread for the 2023 NFL season, the Saturday notes, with the Sunday slate about to kick off in 13 hours. So, as we usually do, we'll go over all the picks. Kind of like my pre-final thoughts for every pick. Also going to do my favorite prop bets for every single game. So going to run through all of those. Before we do, please hit like, subscribe, comment below. Share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that would mean a lot to us. We are 95 subs shy of 4,000. So yeah, hopefully we get there by the Super Bowl. It'd be great if you guys want to hit subscribe and help us out. Also, we kind of beg for super chats because I've said before that we make like $4.50 an episode, which is like below minimum wage. So like any help would be appreciated. Like anything would be great. Hey Cinder, hope you're doing well tonight. Hope everyone did well with their bets today. So we hit 2 of 3. We only lost like our worst bet. So Bengals, we had 4 units on the Bengals. We also got the TJ Hawkinson over 50.5 receiving yards prop, which is nice. The game we lost was the Steelers. They got up to a 13-0 lead, and kind of felt pretty good when I like, not that you root for injury, but like, the Steelers up 13-0. Michael Pittman gets hurt. Zach Moss is out. Suddenly, like, you think that they're going to cover, and then they just don't score again. The Colts just like run over them, and Trubisky was just terrible. So we lost that one. We lost the prop on Pat Freiermuth receiving yards, but that was my lowest prop bet of the night. That was it was only half a unit. It was not like too confident in that one. My most confident pick though was Detroit -4.5 or -5, whatever number you got. That was not close. They destroyed Denver. They just took advantage of some great matchups in this game. Also, our top prop of the day was David Montgomery over 65.5 rushing yards. He got to like 80 something. Unfortunately, like Gibbs outgained him for my DFS lineup. I still cash my DFS lineup. I play single entry and like the higher stakes. So he at least cashed, but it was min cash. If I had Gibbs instead of Montgomery, like I would have been like pretty high up there because I had Ty Chandler, I had T Higgins, I had like all the top players, but like in the late game, like Courtland Sutton was a disappointment, and Montgomery was a disappointment compared to Gibbs, but he still got there for the props, so pretty happy about that. So Patrick says, hey, well, I remember you and Quacky Takes talking about video games on a recent episode. I'm 65% done with the first Last of Us game. It's amazing. Highly recommend. I actually have I had The Last of Us. I actually had that game, and I didn't want to watch the TV series until I played that game. But I just haven't had time to play. Like I have not played video games since August, since my daughter was born. Just because like now we have the 2 kids and it's football season. After football season's over, I'm gonna have a bit of time to play video games. But not now. But that'll change in like 4 weeks. So yeah, I want to get to that game. I have some other games I want to get to as well. So I definitely want to do that. And I do want to watch The Last of Us, but I did watch like the first episode, even though I wanted to wait, and I just wasn't impressed. But I don't know, maybe I'll give it another chance. Golden Goliath, thank you. Thanks for the congrats on Detroit. Yeah, that was a nice one. All right, let's get to the Sunday slate. Falcons Panthers. I don't nearly have as much interest in this game. Falcons are -3. Just look at the Falcons injury report if you want to bet on them. Like it looks pretty brutal. They might be without several offensive linemen. They're going to be without their top 2 defensive tackles. I'm pulling up their injury report now. So Caleb McGarry's out. This is a huge deal. He's a really good offensive lineman. David Onyemata was limited, DMP limited. They're already missing Grady Jarrett, so they might be missing the top 2 defensive tackles. Jake Matthews, DMP limited. Chris Lindstrom was not practicing on Wednesday either. So I assume he's going to play, but he may not be 100%. Nate Landman, another good player, he's limited all week. Drew Dahlman, their outstanding center, is limited all week. Like Atlanta has a ton of injuries. If all these guys play, and they're 100%, then I could see them covering against Carolina. The problem is like if they're missing too many players, it might be difficult to do that, even though the Panthers are just so bad. The Panthers have some injuries too. Like Brian Burns was DMP limited. So like if he doesn't play, I mean that really hurts Carolina because he's such an important part of their defense. But like I like the thing is like I just don't trust Bryce Young at all. Like I just can't back him whatsoever. Also for the Panthers, look, they have 3 illnesses. So there might be a flu bug or something in the locker room. So that's something to watch out for as well. Um, Patrick says Tears of the Kingdom is amazing as well. I couldn't get into Breath of the Wild, but TOTK starts off amazing, and even the Water Temple is good. Yeah, actually, that's what I was playing before my daughter was born. I beat 3 of the 4 temples. The only one I didn't beat was the Desert Temple. And I just do so much exploring in that game. That's why like, I'm so slow to beat Zelda. Um, but like I haven't even like I've explored most of the overworld. I haven't really gotten to the underworld yet. I've done some of it, but those hands, those Doom hands are like so crazy. Like I was like running for my life, like scared, like at first. Like I eventually like figured out how to kill them, but they were like terrifying. Like that's like the craziest thing in video games. Like it's like the craziest monster. Um, Matthew says start Achan or Mostert or both. I have Bijan and White too. Going to start 3 total. I would go Achan. No, sorry, I would go Mostert because Achan is injured. He may not even play. I think he like rolled his ankle on like the final carry of his on Monday night, and it's a short week, so he may sit out. But even if he plays, he may not be 100%. So like I think Mostert's the way to go. Hey Perry, thanks for joining. And thanks for joining as well. Can you still have fun? All right, let's get to the next game, which is like let me talk about this prop too. So Bijan Robinson has gone over 63.5 rushing yards in all but one of his positive matchups since week 2. And Carolina's run defense is so bad. I feel like he's going to go over. He's getting more touches recently. That not last game. I don't know why Arthur Smith went back to kind of like the 50-50 split that he had before the bye. But I assume that has to be like a blip on the radar. I feel like Arthur Smith has to know that Bijan's the better option, and this is such a great matchup. I'll be surprised if Bijan doesn't hit the over. Although, as I discussed with Kenny and Kenny didn't believe me, there might be like an alien parasite controlling Arthur Smith. But that's my theory, but that's I don't know. I feel like I'm on to something with that. Anyway, we have Bears, Browns here. I love the Bears. I think this is a great matchup for them. I think if you went into a bar and like 50 people were watching football games, and you asked all of them which of these teams has the better defense, I think like almost all of them would say the Browns, and like that's not true. The Browns defense has not been as good when ever since Myles Garrett got banged up. They're down to 16th in defensive EPA, whereas the Bears are I think 5th. Since week 7, like they've been outstanding. Montez Sweat has been awesome for them. They got their players back from injury. They had a lot of defensive backs who were injured, and so like they're back from injury. So their defense is awesome. So they have the better defense here. They have the better quarterback. I think Joe Flacco has played against some mediocre or horrible competition. Like every quarterback going against the Jaguars is going to look great because they can't stop anything, or the pass. They can't stop anything through the air, I should say. So I think Flacco is going to come down to earth. I feel like almost someone like Jake Browning. I know Jake Browning won today, but it's going to be like that, where like Jake Browning had easy matchups, and then today it was a tougher matchup, and he struggled for a while. I think Flacco is going to really struggle here. Also, the Bears. They have a good matchup offensively because the Browns play a lot of man, and that's going to be conducive to rushing. Justin Fields has been really good against man defense. So I love the Bears. I think they're going to win outright here. I don't even need the 3. And the prop goes with that. Justin Fields over 56.5 rushing yards. He's gone over that a few times recently. I think that he should be able to hit that easily unless he gets banged up, which like of course could always happen with him. But I think it's just such a good matchup for the Bears in this game. Paul asking Cinder, what is your definition of woke? Did Cinder ask? Okay, yeah. Cinder says, "Don't watch the show. It's woke. Game is great." I would say that the definition of woke, I think, is a it's kind of like unwavering yeah, unwavering allegiance to the current thing. Just like whatever everyone says, like you just go with it. So I don't know. A lot of people have their own definitions, but I think that's fine. Anyway, Buccaneers at the Packers. This line is up to 3.5. It sounds like Aaron Jones is going to play in this game, which is kind of interesting. I just don't know how healthy he's going to be. But Vita Vea might be out again. I think he's doubtful. So I think that's a good advantage for the Packers, especially if Jones can run the ball. Um, so I'm kind of curious to see if Jair Alexander could play. Like, he's been out for a while. I do expect the Packers to bounce back, though. The NFC South teams have been 11-25 against the spread outside the division this year, which is kind of crazy. But like, it gets even better. And I've said this before. Like, it's 11-25 against the spread outside of the division. It would be 10-26 if you didn't get the closing number in that 49ers Buccaneers game a couple weeks ago. It would be 9-27 if the Texans kicker didn't get hurt and they won by 3 instead of 2, and then it would be 8-28 if the Buccaneers didn't have that garbage cover at the end of that Thursday night game at Buffalo. I think it's a good strategy to just fade teams from the worst division. It worked last year with these NFC South teams. They're 17-27 against the spread outside the division, and it's that division's even worse this year because there's no Tom Brady. So I think that, like, what happens is these teams play each other, one beats another, and then it looks good in the win column because they have more wins. Like, the Buccaneers are 6-7, but 3 of those wins have come against NFC South teams. So if you take that out, they're 3-7. But like, they're 6-7 instead of 3-7. They're like, oh, people are like, oh, they're not bad. But they are actually like really bad. Like, the Packers are a lot better than the Buccaneers. So I think they should be able to win this game. It's a good matchup for Jordan Love too. Like, Jordan Love, I think the Packers got caught with their pants down on Monday night. Like, they beat the Chiefs and the Lions. Like, they're feeling good. They thought they beat the Giants. Like, Tommy DeVito, like, of course we can beat them. That's probably their mentality. And yeah, the Giants just got them. I think that Wink Martindale's defense was like really good, blitz wise, and I think that Jordan Love really struggled against that. But Tampa's secondary is just so bad that I think the Packers should be able to, like I said, I think they're going to win this one. Not in love with the -3.5, though. I'm going to try to get -3. Tucker Kraft has gone over 34.5 receiving yards in the past 2 games, with Christian Watson sidelined, especially in the last game. The Buccaneers have allowed the 6th most receiving yards to tight ends. So Tucker Kraft, I like him a lot. I like him on DFS. He's 3,000 on DraftKings. It's a very cheap play that could hit. It's a great matchup for him. So I like that for sure. Let's see. Golden says nobody thinks the Packs will be too tight at home under pressure to beat a lowly NFC South team. Well, I don't know. I mean, they have the same record and they're favored by 3.5. So it's not like it's not. I feel like if they're favored by like 6.5 or 7, then you can maybe make the case. I'm not so sure about that. Golden says I think the pack might be too tight. Yeah. So I guess we'll see. Thanks for joining. Yeah, let's get to the next game, which is Texans at the Titans. So we got a bit of news here that CJ Stroud has been ruled out, and people thought that Davis Mills was going to be the quarterback, but that's not the case. It's going to be Case Keenum. I actually did not mean to do that. So I guess that's better. I mean, Case Keenum, I can't even remember the last time he played. Obviously, he took the Vikings to the NFC Championship. That was 6 years ago. Not sure if he can do that here, especially with like Nico Collins going to be out. Tank Dell obviously out as well. Dalton Schultz will be back, and Noah Brown will play. But like, I don't think Noah Brown's 100%. Like, it looks like he's playing on one leg right now. And the Texans, like, given the issues with the passing game, I feel like they need to run the ball to have success here. But Tennessee is really good against the run. And then on the other side, like, Tennessee wants to run the ball, and like Houston has been a lot better against the run this year. However, they're going to be down their top 2 players on defense, and both of them are really good against the run. Blake Cashman, the linebacker, and Will Anderson, they're great defensive end rookie. They're both out. So Derrick Henry, I feel like, is going to have a really good game, and that's going to lead me to my prop, which is Derrick Henry over rushing yards, 67.5. He's cleared the 7 of his 12 past 12 games. So over 50% conversion rate there. This should be a good matchup with Anderson and Cashman out. So I like Henry to get over 67.5 rushing yards. Next game is Giants at the Saints. This is another NFC South team that we can fade. I think the Sharps have been fading them as well because this line was 6 and it's dropped to 5 or 5.5. So like the problem with the Saints is that Chris Olave may not play. It sounds like they're going to wait until pregame warmups to see if he can go, which like is not a good sign because like even if he clears, if he's clear to play, like he may not even be 100%. Like what if he leaves early, like right away? Then it's kind of like he'd never played in the first place. So the Saints without Chris Olave are going to be so challenged. Like they just don't have much. Like if Rashid Shaheed will be back, he's okay. And Alvin Kamara is still there, but I don't know. I feel like Derek Carr is also banged up. He has rib injuries. I just think the Saints are too limited. And speaking of Derek Carr, he has a terrible track record of covering these high spreads. He's 7-19 against the spread as a favorite of 3.5 or more. Just like a team that you shouldn't back. Dennis Allen, the Saints coach, also has a terrible track record of covering the spread. And like the Giants, I feel like the only negative you could say about them here is that they're coming off a win on a short week. But they're still big underdogs. Like if they were favored in this game, I could say maybe they're going to be flat, but obviously they still have a chance to make the playoffs. Like 5-8 and the NFC is alive. I feel like they know if they can win out, they'll be in. So like, yeah, I don't see them, like being flat off that win. It just like ideally in the spot, I would want the Giants to come off a loss, but they are playing with confidence now. Tommy DeVito has a good matchup here. Actually, the Saints allow the third most rushing yards to quarterbacks, so maybe DeVito can do something on the ground. And the Saints also struggle against slot receivers, so Wan'Dale Robinson should do well. And that goes to my prop. Wan'Dale Robinson over 3.5 receptions is plus 110 at BetMGM. At least it was last night. I'm not sure what it is now. Either way, I like the over 3.5 for Wan'Dale Robinson. Adam Thielen has destroyed the Saints this year. A lot of slot receivers have done well against them. We had Christian Kirk over on a Thursday night against them. It's just a good team to target slot receivers. So I like Wan'Dale Robinson there. Okay, so we have a bunch of guys joining on X. So thanks for doing that. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Bills over Cowboys. We're gonna get to that in a bit, but yeah, spoiler alert, I like the Bills. What did you have this line at, Walt? Are you talking about Saints Giants? Because I had it at 5. So 6 was a bit too high. Now it's gone to like 5.5. There's not that much value. 6 is a very important number. It's the third most likely result of any NFL game. So it's 5, but I don't know. I might have had the Giants a little bit too low. I don't know if that was adjusted for Monday Night Football. I have to look, but I think it could be 3.5. You could talk me into 3.5, like 3.5 to 5 range. I think I think it's a bit too high. Yeah, thanks guys for joining in. I really appreciate it. All right, let's get to the next game, which is Jets at Dolphins. Dolphins favored by 8.5 or 9, depending on where you look. The Dolphins have so many injuries. This is another game where I want to show the injury report to you. It is brutal. Look at all these questionable players. So let's go alphabetically. Devon Achane, DMP limited. That's what I was talking about before, where like I would start Raheem Mostert over Devon Achane, just because like he barely practiced. Like he may not be 100%. You just can't count on that. Then you get to Teron Armstead, who's never healthy. He's playing injured right now. He's not as effective, but I assume he's going to be out there. Liam Eichenberg, DMP limited. He's a backup, and so he may not play. Deshaun Elliott, concussion, he's out. It's a big blow to the secondary. Maybe not in this matchup, but still. Tyreek Hill, DMP. I saw a report saying that that they were going to allow him to decide in pregame warmups, but if he's DMP all week, like I don't know, like what if he just leaves the game right away, like in the second quarter or something? Just tough to count on that. Javon Holland limited all week. I assume he's going to suit up, but you never know. Xavier Howard, DMP limited, another injured defensive back. Robert Hunt, DMP all week. He's out. Another offensive lineman out. So someone not here is Connor Williams. He's put on IR. So, that's two offensive linemen down, and maybe a couple more. Austin Jackson, another one, limited. I assume he's going to play, may not be 100%. Raheem Mostert doesn't have a designation. And then Andrew Van Ginkel, limited all week. We'll see about him. I assume he's going to play too, but you never know. Like, definitely look at the injury report before or the inactives list 90 minutes before kickoff. But with all these injuries, you have to like the Jets. Like, a team this banged up can't be favored by more than 7 points against anyone, maybe the Panthers, but really almost everyone else. Like you just can't favor this team by this many points. And also, like, the Dolphins, first of all, they're coming off a short week, and second, they're playing a team that they just clobbered 3 weeks ago. And that score was kind of misleading because there was a pick six, and there was another pick six off the Hail Mary. So if you take those two out, it's closer. And I say you could take them out because the Jets are going to have an upgrade at quarterback compared to that game. And, like, I know Zach Wilson sucks, but, like, he's still a million times better than Tim Boyle. Like, Tim Boyle was so bad. He did not deserve to even be in the NFL. Whereas, like, Zach Wilson's at least, he could be a decent number 2 quarterback down the line. And, like, we saw him have a good game last week against Houston. I think he's going to have a good game here with the Jets, with the Dolphins secondary injuries. And, like, Miami's offense isn't going to be as great with the offensive line injuries. So I think it's going to be a close game. By the way, Miami has some tough games coming up. I think they may not be focused for this game. So after this game, their 3-game stretch to close out the year, they play the Cowboys. Then they play the Ravens, I believe, and then they play the Bills. So I just don't see them being focused for the Jets here. Cinder says, then the director admitted that he just wanted to trick the audience to watching Gay Love Story. Yeah, that's a reference to Last of Us. I heard about that. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to see it for myself because you never know. Like, people could, always exaggerate things. But I did hear some shady stuff about that. Wind in Miami, defense and running of the ball decides this one. So let's look at the weather report. I looked at it earlier. Let's see if we have any updates. So wind 22 miles an hour. So anything over 20 is a big deal. And, like, some people will look at rain. I don't really care about rain. Obviously, there's no rain here, but just saying that, like, a lot of people say, oh, there's rain. Unless it's like a torrential downpour, it's not going to affect anything. Like, it could help the offense even because, like, the cornerbacks could slip or something. But the wind does impact a lot. And yeah, I mean, I would say the running game would normally favor Miami because the Jets are a run funnel defense. But if it's this windy and Tyreek Hill is not 100%, the Jets can play closer to the line of scrimmage and kind of limit what the Dolphins do on the ground. And then on the other side, so the Dolphins are good against the run, but they're bad against receivers out of the backfield. And Breece Hall is really good in that aspect. Like, he just had a big game as a receiver. And so I think we saw what Tajay Spears did to the Dolphins on Monday night. I think Breece Hall could have a similar type of performance. Like he may have like 30 rushing yards, but he might catch like 7 balls for 80 receiving yards. Like, he could have that sort of game, and like the wind's not going to impact that. It's just like short tosses, like not going to be a big deal. So good call on checking the weather for sure. But yeah, I think it's more neutral than anything. If anything, you want to go the under, but I like the under to begin with anyway. Yeah, Dolphins offensive line is a problem for sure. So Big Red TLC says, "Good evening, Walt. 20 mile an hour winds. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it'll hurt the passing game. Don't play Tua in DFS or fantasy. Try not to do that. Don't play Zach Wilson. Don't play Garrett Wilson. The guys you want in this game are Raheem Mostert and Breece Hall." Yeah, Cinder, that's woke. Yeah, it's what I said before, the current thing. Like they want to cater to that, and like I don't know. Like we can get into that after the games if you want. The player prop here is Breece Hall under. So we have our first under 43.5 rushing yards. He hasn't gone over 40 rushing yards this week 9. So like, why is this 43.5 against the Miami run defense? That's really good. In that Black Friday game against Miami, he had 25 rushing yards. So 43.5 seems kind of insane. I don't know why it's so high, but I'll take the under for sure. And the last of the early games is Chiefs at Patriots. This line is 8.5. So like, this is a tricky one, because I say that because the metrics say the Patriots should be favored, which is crazy. And like, sometimes you just don't want to trust the metrics because they could be off. And the metrics like the Patriots a lot because they're number 2 in defense, whereas like the Chiefs have been struggling defensively with injuries. And then the offense is struggling because the receivers drop all the balls and like they fumble, and like this Chiefs team's just not clicking. But if there's like any team that's struggling that could turn the on switch on right away, it's the Chiefs. Like what if the receivers stop dropping passes and their defense is getting healthier? They got Nick Bolton back last week. Drew Tranquil is coming back this week. Their defense is going to improve. And the Patriots are still the Patriots. Like, as good as the defense is, their offense is so terrible with Bailey Zappi, or Ben Zappi, as Kenny likes to refer him to. I don't know. So right now I'm on the Patriots, just like going with the metrics. But I could easily see the Chiefs winning this game by double digits. Like, I could see like 23-3 even. Patriots defense looking good for a while, but the Chiefs coming through in the end. But then again, like, do you want to back Chiefs minus 8.5, knowing how bad they're playing right now? It's a tough spot. I don't know what to do with this game. I'm not going to bet it. So maybe you guys have a better idea of how it's going to go. My prop here is Demario Douglas over. So Douglas is the number 1 receiver for the Patriots. He's been out the past 2 weeks for a concussion, but he cleared protocol and he's going to play. The Chiefs allow the 3rd most production to slot receivers, which is where Douglas plays. And Douglas has 5 or more catches in each of his previous 4 games. The over under for his receptions in this game is 4.5. So, he's cleared it in the past 4. So like, why wouldn't he clear it now in a good matchup? I feel like that this is kind of an easy one. Seems almost too easy to me, but I don't think like people are paying like too much attention to Demario Douglas. So maybe the books are just behind. Tua looked lost without Hill. Yeah, he looked lost without Hill, and also the injuries to the offensive line. Like, it was twofold for the Dolphins. So yeah, pretty brutal. Thanks guys for joining. Really appreciate it. And we'll get to the late games. Please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that will mean a lot. So 49ers Cardinals. So this is an interesting one. So I kind of like the Cardinals because I think the Niners will be distracted. The Niners also are going to be without Javon Hargrave and Eric Armstead. So like 2 major players on the defensive line missing. I also think that the Niners might be distracted because they play on Monday Night Football against the Ravens next week. On Christmas, like, no less. So it says Cardinals. However, the injury report is what got me off of maybe betting the Cardinals. And what I saw there was that Kyler Murray had a thumb injury. Now he practiced in full. I'm going to pull this up. So he practiced fully. So maybe this is not even a thing, but so full. Like, it doesn't look like too much of a concern there. And he has no injury designation. However, it was enough to put him on the injury report. So like, what if there's something wrong there? And I'll point to this before, like, Joe Burrow, when he was dealing with that calf in the beginning of the season, he was practicing fully. So like a full practice may not mean anything. If Murray's thumb is bothering him, like, I want nothing to do with the Cardinals. So like, this took me off Arizona. So maybe this is much to do about nothing, but it's enough to get me not to bet this game. The prop for this game is so I'm looking at the wrong page. The prop for this game is Deebo Samuel over 57.5 receiving yards. He's gone over in his past 4 games. This is another one that seems like way too easy. Like, and this more so because like people are going to be paying more attention to Deebo. I don't know. Like, is this a trap or something? Like, Deebo over 57.5 receiving yards seems so easy. Maybe it won't hit or something like that. Maybe we'll like suffer a mysterious injury. But Arizona's defense is terrible. They allow so much production to outside receivers, the 7th most production. So it's not like this is even a tough matchup. Debo should be able to get this. Maybe this is a blowout, and you just like the Niners don't throw it all in the second half, like that. Like that's the way this could lose. But like if the Cardinals are remotely competitive, then this should definitely go over. I feel like. So let's see. Chiefs probably win by 10 plus, but always fear the backdoor cover. Well, I don't know. I mean, against with Ben Zappi, I don't know. I just maybe you don't need to worry about it that much. I feel like I don't know. I feel like with backdoor covers, it's usually like team like favorites that are banged up and like can't quite get there. Um, but you know, I like the only injuries the Chiefs have are Donovan Smith's out and Isaiah Pacheco's out. Like not a huge deal because like McKinnon looked good last week, and then I don't know, the Chiefs should still be able to block somewhat well. Although the Patriots defense is really good, so I don't know. Like it could be backdoor cover, but with Zappi, I'm not quite sure. Like you're gonna be too scared of that. All right, so we have some injury news here. Redskins at Rams. The injury news is that Aaron Donald got downgraded to questionable, so he still could play, but he has a groin injury, and like those could like really like linger. Like the soft tissue injuries like always pop up. Like even if a player plays, it could just start bothering him, and he could be ruled out or just be limited. So the Rams like already look pretty bad with the spread. Like I already like the Redskins quite a bit. And now that Aaron Donald may not play, like I like the Redskins a lot more. The Rams play on Thursday night against the Saints. It's not like a marquee matchup, but it matters for the wild card race. So I think they're going to be more focused for that game. And I've said this throughout the week. Like you have to kind of like wonder, is this going to be like Redskins Eagles twice, or Redskins Cowboys, or Redskins Dolphins, which are blowouts? I think it's going to be like Redskins Eagles, because I think the Rams and Eagles are like in this like about in the same range. Like the Eagles, I think, are a little bit better than the Rams. But they're pretty close in talent. Whereas the Cowboys were just a lot better than the Redskins, and the Dolphins, when they were healthy, were a lot better than the Redskins. The Rams have some flaws. Joe Flacco looked good against them 2 weeks ago. I think Sam Howell should have a good game, especially if Aaron Donald's out. I like the Redskins quite a bit. The prop here is let's see. Okay. It's Logan Thomas over 3.5 receptions. He had a stretch where he had 4 more receptions in five consecutive games. The past 2 games, he really hasn't done much, but I think he might be back. The Rams have been horrible against tight ends this year. I think that Logan Thomas is just in a great matchup for that. So I like his over receptions. Walter Football for president, hot nurse as vice president. I don't like. I wouldn't want to be president, honestly. Like it just, I don't like. I don't think anyone deserves that power. I'm the most libertarian person you ever talk to. I don't think we should have federal government. But I don't know. If I were made president, I would just like cede my power like right away to the people. I don't know. I just I don't know. Maybe like. I don't know if that's good or bad for presidency, but like I would just like dismantle the federal government. I think maybe governor would be the best thing, because I'd I'd say like no one in my state has to pay federal taxes, and you'll be protected by our troops here, so from the federal government. So that's what I would do. Lone Glide says, and Brian Robinson's out for the Redskins. Yeah, Robinson's out. I don't think that's a big deal. I think that Antonio Gibson should just have a decent game. Running back means nothing. Look what happened in the Colts game today. No Jonathan Taylor. Zach Moss gets hurt, and the Colts run all over the Steelers with Tyler Goodson and Trey Sermon. Like Trey Sermon couldn't even make the Eagles roster. Like it just ran all over the Steelers. Like running back is so irrelevant. Like there's no reason to pay these guys unless they're a big part of the passing game. You know, like Christian McCaffrey, for example. Like he deserves to get paid because he's basically a receiver and a running back at the same time. But like someone like Brian Robinson doesn't mean anything. Like that's zero downgrade at all. No consequence. Don't worry about it. Yeah, Chiefs win 10-0, sort of like the Charger game. Yeah, I could see something like that happening for sure. Chris says heavy rain and moderate winds gusts expected in Carolina. How has Atlanta's run defense? So Atlanta's run defense was good in the beginning of the season, but it's gotten worse because Grady Jarrett's been out and now David Onyemata has been bagged up. Let's look at the injury report for that game. Definite rain. Okay, I don't like I said, I don't care about rain unless it's a torrential downpour. And I don't know, like maybe it will be. It says 90%, so it's not 100%. So I don't know. Maybe this Bears Browns game is worse for rain, but like I don't know. Like unless there's like a hurricane in the area, like I don't think it's a big deal. 15-mile-an-hour winds is not a big deal either. Like it might be for kickers, but like for quarterbacks, you really don't get there until 20-mile-an-hour winds. I actually saw a report about the winds, and it really affects quarterbacks quarterback performances when it gets to 20. When it's at 15, it like downgrades the quarterbacks by like I think it was like 5% or something like that, or maybe like even like less than that. It was like 4%. So it's like that you get downgraded like a point. In fantasy. So like if it's super close with another guy, then just go with the non-rain quarterback. But if you, for example, if not that anyone would like Desmond Ritter, but like if you like Desmond Ritter in this matchup, like don't be scared of the rain or the 15-mile-an-hour winds. But like I said, like Atlanta's run defense has gotten worse, but like Carolina's run defense is like the worst. I think actually they're second worst in the NFL, or maybe third worst. Like they're in the bottom three. Bijan should run all over them. Algier should run all over them. Like I think Atlanta just has a good matchup in this game, but like I just don't trust Desmond Ritter. Like that's the issue here. So anyway, Walters for the people. Yeah, I guess so. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your votes. I like I said, I would dismantle the federal government. I'd get rid of all the federal agencies like on day one. That's what I would do first and foremost. What Trump for president? At least he ain't so woke. More. What do you mean? Would vote for Trump for president? I'm more like a sleeping libertarian. That's my pick. Yeah, I like that he said he would fire everyone. That's kind of like my that's what I'm all for. So never pay for a running back. Yes, yeah, like I said, except if it's a receiver out of the backfield, or like basically a McCaffrey, or like even Alvin Kamara. Like you can maybe argue, although like I wouldn't even pay him that much. It would have to be someone who's just like really like involved in the passing game, like McCaffrey. So yeah. Fire all. I like it. It's so like burn them all with the Mad Kings. Like fire them all. I like that. It's a good idea. All right. Next game is the big one in the Sunday slate. It's the Cowboys and Bills. So we have news here, and it involves the injury report. Something really stuck out to me, and I don't know if anyone's talking about this, but here we go. Illness. Like there's something going on in the Cowboys locker room. Gilmore didn't even practice this week. Brandon Cooks did not practice the past 2 days. I don't know how serious this is, but like anytime I see 3 or more illnesses, it's my spidey senses are up, and I think that 4 or more is troublesome. So if there's the flu going around the Cowboys locker room, like how much will the Cowboys want to play this game in the cold rain? It's gonna be dark like 1 hour into the game. They're coming off a big win against the Eagles, like their biggest win of the regular season, and like this game means everything to Buffalo. I love Buffalo in this game. I like them more so. I already liked them before I saw all these illnesses. But like now I like them even more. Like Dallas could just not be interested in this game. I know they're going for the number 1 seed, but still like coming off such a big win, now traveling outdoors, Dallas is just so much better at home than on the road. Like think about the line. So like not that much of a dichotomy, but still like sort of like that. And I just think that Dallas is just in for like a rude awakening here. Like Buffalo's been so impressive. By the way, I bet Buffalo at 18-1 to win the Super Bowl. I was going to make that announcement. I guess tonight, or I was going to post it on the site, but I was just going to tell you now. They're 18-1 on DraftKings, FanDuel, like a lot of the other sports books. If you think about it, like They may not. Okay, they may not make the playoffs. They're 7-6, but like if they win this game, they have an easy schedule to close out the year. So like their schedule after this, they play the Chargers in week 16. In week 17, they get the Patriots. So like those are the games they usually should win. And then week 18, they get the Dolphins, and like who knows how banged up the Dolphins are going to be in that game. And we saw them crush the Dolphins earlier in the year too. So I think they just match up well against the Dolphins, especially if Miami's injured. So they could coast to a playoff win or a playoff berth here. They could be 11-6 to close out the year, or maybe even 10-7, but maybe 11-6 if they win this game. And like, there's no elite team in the AFC. Like there's no 49ers. There's like Kansas City is like kind of floundering right now. Like maybe they'll hit the on switch, but doesn't look like they will. The Ravens don't really impress me all that much. Like they're a good team for sure. Like don't get me wrong. Like they're a really good team, but they're not an elite team like the Niners. No one in the AFC South's really good. Joe Burrow's lost. If Joe Burrow were still healthy, I'd be scared of them. But like it's Jake Browning. Maybe he has a Nick Foles type of run, but the Cincinnati defense is so bad. They couldn't stop Nick Mullins today. So I think the defense is actually going to be the downfall, not Jake Browning. Who else is in the AFC? The Dolphins are really banged up right now. Cleveland has Joe Flacco. You can't take them seriously. Denver just lost today. Like there's really no one in the AFC who's like super impressive. But like if the Bills keep winning, I think you kind of have to be scared of them because they have a really good defense, not elite without Milano, but still really good. Josh Allen has been playing better with the new coordinator. They've gotten James Cook more involved. Dawson Knox is back now, so they have their 2 tight ends going on. So I think Buffalo makes for a great play at 18-1. I think there's a really good value there because they were 6-1 entering the season, and now they're 18-1. I just think it's just an amazing value. So the prop is for this game is let's see, it's Stephon Diggs over only 66.5 receiving yards. I think it's because he's had some down performances lately. But like Dallas allows the second most production to outside receivers. So I think Diggs is gonna have a great game. Let's check the weather actually. Okay, 15-mile-an-hour winds, not a big deal. So yeah, I love Diggs in this game. I would pay off for him in DFS. I would pay off for him over McCaffrey, just because I think that McCaffrey is a great matchup. I just think that the Niners with a big game coming up, I think that they may just like not give him all the work that he normally gets. Like I don't see them feeding the ball to him like 25 plus times. So he could be a little limited in his workload, and like this is a must win for the Bills, and it's a great matchup for Diggs, and he's like $1,000 cheaper than McCaffrey. So I love Diggs this week. We have some comments here. So Big Red TLC says Dallas is 22-1 straight up on turf last 2 years, 7-0 on road turf. Not sure how much that matters with the rain, but their turf grass splits are insane. Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder. Yeah, I really wonder how they would be in the rain in those games. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this really benefits Buffalo, the spot and everything. How many units for that bet? I increased that bet to 4 on Buffalo. That Bills pick is sweet at 18-1. Yeah, it's really good value. By the way, another bet I made is, and this may have changed. I don't know if it's going to change. I don't know if it changed that drastically, but I also bet the Bears to make the playoffs at 12-1. Because if you like in this game, they're going to be in position to make the playoffs. Like even at 5-8, like that's a half a game behind last place in the conference. So especially with the Vikings losing today, that's going to help them out too. If you're really going to want to go wild, the Bears are 600-1 to win the Super Bowl. I think it's at FanDuel, or they're 600-1 to win the Super Bowl somewhere. They're not going to do it, obviously, but like it's like a fun bet to make, especially if you think they're going to make the playoffs. But I did bet them to make the playoffs at 12-1. Yeah, Pussy bets tonight. Yeah, I will. I will after the show's over. Yeah, so let's get to the Sunday night game. So this is going to be another weird weather game. Let's check it out real quick. So 20-mile-an-hour winds, no rain, but still that this wind is a problem. And it's like I was going to do a same game parlay here, and like I was going was gonna go like some Ravens receivers against this horrible Jacksonville secondary. But like if the win is that bad, it may impact that. So I don't know if I'm gonna do a same game parlay. Just gonna may pass in this one, just because like the weather is um so I don't know. It's just I think the weather is just may impact it and make it hard to decipher like what to do fantasy wise. WW Fresh says, "You talking DFS or what, buddy?" No, you ain't. I'm out. I mean, if you wanna if you wanna ask some DFS questions, I'm all for it. You know, I'll answer anything on here. So all right, let's talk about this game. So, I like the Ravens. Like, I really don't want to bet the Jaguars. This is a tough spot for Baltimore though, because they have the Niners on Monday Night Football. They may not take Jacksonville seriously. Like that's the problem here. That's why I'm not going to bet the Ravens. I still would pick them though because, but like Jacksonville is so bad. Like their defenses just can't stop anyone. Joe Flacco and Jake Browning look like Joe Montana and John Elway against them in the past 2 weeks. Now they get Lamar Jackson, who has good receivers for the first time in a while. Odell Beckham's coming on, like he looks healthy for the first time since he tore his ACL. Zay Flowers is getting better each week. Isaiah Likely has a great matchup. The Jacksonville can't stop tight ends. That's the one guy I'm not worried about here for the props. I have Isaiah Likely over 32.5 receiving yards at DraftKings. I don't think the win is going to bother that much. They're kind of intermediate throws. Like if I were to do a same game parlay, I think I would go Likely over. I would go Zay Flowers over. I would go. I'm not sure about Beck. I think Beckham's number is pretty low, so I think I would go Beckham over as well. And then I think I would go Zay Jones over on the other side. Zay Jones had like 14. Actually, no. I think I'd go Parker Washington over because Baltimore I think is weaker to slot receivers than outside receivers. Zay Jones is also worth considering too because he had 14 targets last week. Yeah, that's what I would do for the same game parlay. If the win is not that bad, you can plug that in. Try to get those over receivers for Baltimore because like I said, Jacksonville can't stop anything against the pass. So, I'm leaning toward Baltimore here, but not good about this game in all likelihood, unless there's like some surprise for an active. The Monday night game is Eagles Seahawks. This line dropped from 4-3, which kind of tells me that someone expects Geno Smith to play. He's listed as questionable with limited all week. I think it's going to be Geno, but I guess we'll see. Either way, I like the Seahawks a lot. And Quacky talked me into liking Seattle even more so because he compared the Eagles this year to the Buccaneers last year, whereas like the Buccaneers are overrated and like they won some games, but they weren't impressive. And then they would lose some games and everyone would expect them to bounce back and they just didn't. And they would get clobbered by elite teams. Like the Niners stomped all over them late in the year, for example. And then Dallas in the playoffs, like that Tampa team couldn't compete with the elite teams. And we just saw the Eagles get trashed by the Cowboys and the Niners in consecutive weeks. And the Seahawks are not an elite team by any means, but they have the receivers to take advantage of the Eagles secondary. I just think that even a 3, like I think that there's good value with Seattle. I don't think the Eagles deserve to be favored by 3 on the road against a competent team. And Seattle's been playing better recently. Like Seattle played better against Dallas and San Francisco better than the Eagles did. So if you want to use that, I know it's like you're comparing apples to oranges sometimes, but really like the matchup really favors Seattle in this game. So I like Seattle +3 for sure. I don't have a prop for this game yet. I'm going to post it Monday, but I assume it's going to involve either DK Metcalf or Jackson Smith-Njigba. The Eagles are worse against slot receivers than outside receivers, but they're still really bad against outside receivers too. And Metcalf obviously better than Jackson Smith-Njigba, but Smith-Njigba is coming on with some good performances recently. So I don't know. They're both going to be in that same game parlay, which I'll also post on Monday. Quackers just doesn't like the Eagles. I don't know. I mean, I feel like he'll bet the Eagles if he thinks they're good. I think he doesn't like the Eagles just because they're an overrated team right now. You know, probably an over game. I think Eagles Seahawks will go over for sure. Cinder says Eagles will win because they have the Super Bowl MVP and 2022 MVP Jalen Hurts. Yeah, I'm still so salty about Jalen Hurts not winning MVP last year. I had him at I think 25-1, and he should have won MVP. That was ridiculous. I like it was so weird that like he lost the MVP because he missed 2 games, but the Eagles lost those 2 games. Like if anything, that like strengthens the case for Jalen Hurts to be MVP. You know. I don't know. I was so angry about it, and like now he's not going to win again because like they've had this losing streak. I did bet Dak Prescott as well this year. I hope that one of them wins, either Hurts or Prescott. I hope Brock Purdy doesn't win because he's not even the MVP on his own team. Like we saw the Niners really struggle in those 3 games when Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel were out. Like I don't know. I feel like McCaffrey and Trent Williams have better cases to win MVP than Brock Purdy. So yeah, Darius Slay is out. Yeah, he hasn't even played well this year, but it's still like, his backup's gonna be worse than him. What about Flacco? He was MVP. those are the days, huh? Rand says Stroud should get it really crazy what he's done. Well, they're not going to give it to a team that doesn't win the divisions. But like if the Texans rally and win the AFC South, then yeah, you can make the case for Stroud. But like he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, so he's going to get an award. Are you sure about Chicago? Yes, I love the Bears this week. They're one of my top plays. Probably be Purdy or something. I hope, like I said, I hope not. It doesn't. Purdy does not deserve MVP. Look, I mean, he's had a great year for sure, but like he's not the most valuable player in the NFL. Like no sane person goes, oh, like who's the most valuable player to his team? It's Brock Purdy. Like no, like it's not. Like anyone who votes for Purdy to win MVP should lose their voting privileges. Golden Glide says, I think they will be the right side. Yeah, I think so too. Cinder says, I think Hurts can still win if they win out and he plays decent. That would be his best record in the NFL, and he should be enough. Yeah, I think if he would have to have a great performance here against Seattle. Like that's the starting point. But you're right. Like he can still win MVP for sure. Chris says Tyreek could win MVP for his 2,000 yards. Maybe, but I don't know. I mean, is he going to hit that? Like he's injured right now. I don't know if he's going to hit 2,000 yards at this point. At the very least, he's going to win Offensive Player of the Year. Again, like that's going to be the excuse. Like, oh, we'll give him Offensive Player of the Year, and he won't win MVP because it's so hard for receivers to win MVP. Because we saw Tyreek Hill last year with Skylar Thompson. Like he was not the MVP of the league. Like if Skylar Thompson were the quarterback all year, Tyreek Hill will have nothing close to 2,000 yards. So it's so hard to justify receivers as MVP too. Yeah, I love the Bears too. So yeah, glad to hear it. Yeah, like the Bears are one of my top plays this week. They're in all my Circa and Super Contest entries. So I hope they pull through. It seems to make a lot of sense. I think they'll cover it. And I think they're gonna win outright. Yeah, I guess that's it. Thanks everyone for tuning in and commenting and watching and everything. I really appreciate it. Please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that would really be appreciated. Like I said, we're 95 shy of 4,000 subs. So if you want to help really support the show, hit the subscribe button so we can get there by the Super Bowl. I think that would be awesome. Yeah. So yeah, thanks so much, Gold Glide. Thanks. I really appreciate you and everyone else. Good, everyone. Good luck on Sunday. I hope it's as good as Saturday. We had a great day today. Hopefully Sunday is awesome as well. And yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday with Jacob to break down the Week 16 picks. So yeah, I'll talk to you then.